Dying Light 2 is now 2 years old. Doesn't even feel like it. Time flies. I remember old clueless me, back in 2021, excited for the game to come out in spring, only for Techland to make an announcement that the game would be delayed until December, and once again, it was delayed until February. The game came out in an arguably sorry state, despite all those delays. But, like a toxic relationship, I stuck around, hoping that the game would change and get better. And, unlike those toxic relationships, it actually did get better. You know, after having to pretty much overhaul their whole game. Imagine being a parkour game and having to completely rework the parkour system. But anyways, Dying Light 2 just had an anniversary update to celebrate the occasion. And, like always, it's a banger. We have all new visuals, weapons, gameplay features, quests, interdimensional travel in an attempt to stop the universe from collapsing on itself, and more. But strangely, we waited half a month for the update. Why? Huh? Is the new update out now? Sorry, I fell asleep because of the boring event we had! Techland! Why are you doing this? Stop making events where all you do are things that are already in the game with no variation! If you didn't know, for the New Year of the Dragon, Dying Light 2 had an event where, get this, all you did was wait for a world event to happen, where you had to rescue someone, be it from zombies or renegades, save them, and they'd give you a card containing materials. That was it. The rewards were cool, as always, but God, no changes in the world, no visual changes, nothing. Now, granted, each day there were little modifiers that altered the game slightly, like one day you'd have infinite stamina, and the next day you'd have infinite weapon durability. But, who cares? I'm assuming the event was added last second, either because they didn't have the anniversary update ready and they needed more time, or they were simply informed that they had to make an event. Actually, no, because the rewards for the event were a weapon and this skin, which I knew took some time to model. So, they planned out this event. They knowingly made an event where all you do is random world missions. Now, I know, and I don't mean to be rude, but Chinese New Year isn't as big a celebration as Christmas or Halloween, but come on. Dying Light player try not to complain challenge. Shut up! Before I put it in your mouth. It's the Year of the Dragon. They couldn't have a dragon flying around in the sky, or some fireworks? No zombie skins? Nothing? Okay. This is a petty thing to complain about. Techland has never really done much for New Year's anyways. I mean, look at last year. All we got was a mask last time. You know what? Maybe I should be more grateful. Let me show you how grateful I am by sucking off this new update now. Let's start off with something huge, and something you don't even have to boot up the game to see. If you own the standard edition of Dying Light 2, you'll automatically be upgraded to the new Reloaded edition. What is in this new edition of Dying Light 2? Well, try the entire first DLC for free. Yep, everyone now has access to the Bloody Ties DLC, completely free of charge. I'm assuming Techland saw that the sales just flatlined, so they were just like, screw it. Or maybe it's just them thanking us for our continued support. Techland has done this before. At the end of the life cycle for the first game, Techland made all the DLC free. Bozak Cord, The Following, those weird quarantine zones, everything. Goes to show that Techland is still the best company out there, despite their decisions. Thanks, Timon. The first thing you're likely to notice when you load in is that we got a visual overhaul. Well, not necessarily an overhaul, but they've been greatly improved. Textures have been polished and enhanced. There's more color on buildings. There's more vegetation everywhere, such as moss and grime on the side of buildings or in the interiors. Speaking of which, we got some new interiors, fleshing out the world, making it feel more like a city and less copy and pasted. Next, they need to change the appearance of some rooftops. All of the rooftops look the same. To this day, I still can't identify where I am in the city because everything looks the same. Reflections look really pretty, especially in the rain. Safe zones have also been altered slightly to give them more personality and make them feel lived in. Zombies, especially, have been given entirely new models. No more do we have the pale, sun-cracked, ghoul-looking zombies. Now, the zombies look more organic, so to speak. They look like actual people who were infected with the virus. Zombies retain their skin pigment and have tumors covering their faces. They wear more normal clothing instead of rags. Their skin is peeling, the blood bright red and fresh. Their eyes look really creepy too. They appear fogged over, almost like they have cataracts. What would be really cool is if they glowed when shining your light on them, but sadly they don't. These new designs look great. But I do understand the lore reasoning behind the initial design of the zombies. So, when you become infected, you become a viral, and if you stay in the sun for too long, you'll eventually decay and become a biter. That's why the zombies look cracked and sunbaked, because they were deteriorating in the sun. But I much prefer these new zombie looks. The zombies appear similar to how they looked in the first game, because remember, the virus in this game is a variation of the Haran virus. And fun fact, every zombie in the first game had the same face. Seriously, go look. They have the same expression, missing flesh patterns, everything. Even the goons. I only noticed it recently and I can't unsee it. But all of this is an aside to the real focal point of this update. You know what it's about. It was heavily advertised. Guns. Yeah, let's see how well putting a gun in the thumbnail works with the algorithm. Dying Light 2, for whatever reason, was very dead set on not having any guns in it. There's even an in-universe explanation for the absence of guns, with the government having taken all the guns and ammo from citizens and stashing them somewhere. But now, leads have arisen that someone knows where to find this stash. You will have to embark on a quest to unravel the secrets and discover the location of the guns before they end up in the wrong hands. The quest starts with Aiden receiving a message from a stranger, beckoning for him to come to the fisheye for an urgent reason. It's very similar to Bloody Ties, where some random dude just calls Aiden. Techland really needs some better intros for these missions. You meet this guy who has his hat on his face to make for a more ominous meetup, and you really gotta wonder how long he was just sitting here like this. He introduces himself as Jay and claims to know where to find the guns that the GRE had hidden away. There are 5 codes that must be found, and when put together, they will reveal the location of said guns. Jay already has the first one, and the other 4 must be recovered. But there are also others that are after these codes, and them getting into bad hands could change the whole city. And Jay trusts the unstable, infected, superhuman Aiden to wield a firearm. The first code you'll be recovering is from some renegades, whatever that means. Opening the crate reveals that the renegades were planning on selling the code to a buyer named Tackhead. Tackhead is the main antagonist of this quest and is being hyped up as a deranged maniac who should definitely not get his hands on a shotgun. The next code is located inside a GRE hospital, and I'm assuming no one ever noticed it was here after the 20-something years that the apocalypse started. Also, it's kind of strange that after more than 20 years, this guy is just now finding codes and is seeking your help. You'd think that everyone will be looking for these guns all this time. Makes you wonder if something more is going on here. You meet back up with Jay, and he gives you info about 2 other people that hold the last 2 codes. These people don't know what the codes are for, so Aiden has to make it not suspicious as to why he needs these random codes. You guys chat about Tackhead some more, and he's still hyped up as a wannabe warlord psycho. And Jay gets weirdly passionate as he talks, like he stands up and leans over the table, but the way he talks and what he's talking about doesn't really call for such body language. Anyways, the first person you meet up with is Delta. Obviously, she doesn't trust Aiden, so she requests something from him first.
Alright, Pilgrim, here's the list.
You want a cherry on top too?
This is where we're introduced to the new co-op quest, but I'll go into more detail about these later. So, you get Delta her stuff and return it to her. She then gets weirdly sentimental and tries to hit on Aiden.
Maybe I do like you. Maybe I keep you talking. I lean on one foot, hip cocked, play with my hair. We share a laugh. Now I'm sitting beside you. We've talked for hours. It's awkward. Then it's passionate. In the morning, I surprise myself. I don't tell you to fuck off.
You can tell she was being sarcastic, but if Aiden were to reciprocate, she would have went along with it too. His loss. He could have had a body count of 2. Delta and that library chick, but oh well. The last guy you go to is Gatsby. You find him hiding in a closet and ask for the code.
I sold the code.
Why did you hide?
Because I sold the code.
Fuck up often, do you?
No, it's just... yeah.
I like Gatsby. He's a goofball. You go to this newly added dock in order to intercept the bandits before they hand it off to Tackhead. And... foolishly, these bandits try to fight you on the dock, so it's an easy wipe. After acquiring the code, you are then approached by Gatsby.
Tackhead get to you, Gatsby?
Yeah.
Just can't say no, can you?
Yeah. So, I guess we aren't going to be friends.
After defeating Gatsby, Aiden then calls Jay, telling him that he has all the codes. But Tackhead is the one who answers. He then tells Aiden where he might be able to find Jay. You go to the location and find a giant puddle of blood with Jay's hat near it. Like, Jesus, look at all that blood. Is he already dead? Did you do this, Lethal Company zombie? You then finally confront the elusive Tackhead.
How about you go fuck yourself?
Just don't think I'm flexible enough.
He tells you that he has Jay hostage and will free him in exchange for the codes and the decoder. Oh yeah, you didn't know there was a decoder? How else are you gonna figure out the codes? Duh. Apparently Jay didn't know there was this decoder, so I don't really know what he was planning on doing when he got the codes. Aiden complies, simply handing over the codes and agreeing to retrieve the decoder. So much for the whole make your choice gimmick of this game. You then go back to that same GRE hospital that you got the 3rd code from and get the decoder. You then give it to Tackhead and he reveals that Jay was right across the street the whole time. And they also planted some bombs around him, because... I don't know. Aiden laments that they're practically screwed because Tackhead has run off with the codes and they don't know where he's gone. But it just so happens that Jay managed to put a tracker on Tackhead when he was captured. Yeah, okay. You follow the track to Tackhead and have a final confrontation with him. You defeat him and locate the stash. Congratulations! After 2 long years, you finally have your very own firearm. Unpopular opinion, but with the way these guns feel, I think it was worth the 2 years. These guns feel and handle tremendously well. The animations of them are very satisfying. The recoil is perfect. It gives them weight. It makes it feel like you're shooting a powerful weapon. These guns feel better than in most shooter games. I'll say that right now. Massive props and shout out to the design teams with these things. I will say though, they do suffer massively because of Aiden's incompetence. Like the crossbow, Aiden cannot aim for shit, so don't jerk your head around too much while aiming. There are 4 types of guns: pistol, SMG, shotgun, and assault rifle. The pistol is as you expect. It's relatively low in damage, all things considered. It's high in terms of reserve ammo, and ammo can be found more commonly than other weapons, which may lead to you using it more. The pistol is perfectly average. The SMG, which is my favorite, is great for shredding hordes of zombies. You aim this thing at a crowd and start blasting, they'll just drop dead. Or if you have that one viral that's been annoying you, you can be petty and get your revenge by riddling him full of lead. Like the first game, the shotgun is an absolute powerhouse, dealing the most damage out of all the weapons. It's incredibly satisfying to blast the zombie at point blank range and watch him fly backwards. Extra points if you tumble a horde with it. The AR is great for taking out enemies that are at a farther distance. You can either burst fire or take time to aim for the head. It's equally as good at close range. Also great for petty revenge against virals. Ammo can now be found on armored zombies or inside crates. Kind of ruins the immersion a little bit with the whole lore and everything, but I think video game companies need to learn that majority of people do not care. Like, if the gameplay feature is good enough, many people won't really care about consistency. Now, I'm not saying give Aiden an Oppressor Mark II or anything like that. My recommendation is that you use bows for normal zombies and save the guns for more difficult or annoying foes. And no, in case you're wondering, enemies do not raise their hands when you point a gun at them. I guess it's because they're assuming that the gun's empty since there are no more guns, so they just think you're joking until they get shot in the face. Now, you might be wondering where you get these guns. After all, the only firearm you got from Jay's mission was a pistol. Well, after completing the mission, Jay calls Aiden and wakes him up out of his sleep to tell him to meet him, which was unnecessary because they literally live right next to each other. You then see that Aiden simply left his pistol laying out on the table while he slept. Door wide open too. I suppose it makes sense that Aiden doesn't have common sense around firearms, since he's likely never wielded one before. Aiden meets up with Jay, and Jay becomes an agent. Yeah, remember those? He has a wide store full of guns, ammo, other weapons, and an Aider skin? Kinda random, but okay. You will now be able to level up your rep with them by completing the new missions and challenges introduced in this update. These missions are decently challenging, mainly because of their use of damage over time enemies, such as spitters, electric zombies, toxic zombies, stuff like that. The first mission is called Priceless, which is the mission you did for Delta that I mentioned earlier. You go to this location and search these blue chests for materials. You then go to the other 2 locations to search more chests, surrounded by elemental enemies and goons. After searching all 8 chests, you then have to clear out the enemies from the street, including a demolisher. The second mission is called Fairy Tale Endings. The mission starts with you having to clear out this street for some reason. You then must visit 2 different locations and loot chests for more items, much like in the first mission. Yeah, it borrows objectives from the first mission. Glad to see we waited a long time for reused objectives. I'm joking. I don't mind. After getting the materials, you must deposit them in this, what I think is a boat. You then must activate a generator and defend it. If the generator is damaged too much, it'll lose 1 point of armor, and you will have to start it up again. But don't worry, you keep your progress. This caught me extremely off guard when I first did this mission. I didn't expect it to turn into a defense mission, and the sheer amount of virals that spawn is insane. There's also bombers and banshees that'll spawn alongside them. The easiest way to do this mission is to use UV bars and throw them in front of the generator, which will keep the virals away. Or you can just throw Molotovs on the generator. The next mission is called Firestarter. There is a pyro cult that has been forming, kinda like in Spider-Man 2, and it's your job to take care of them. You go to 3 different locations and kill all the renegades there, and then you confront the leader of this group. And his name is Keith. And he's practically just a reskin of the Bloody Ties boss, if you know what I'm talking about. One of the freaks. The next mission is called Fast Food, and involves you getting some food for survivors on a roof. You clear out this roof full of zombies, and then you go to 2 different locations to loot the familiar blue boxes that we're all accustomed to now. You load this elevator with the supplies you found, and then you must go around the area that you're in, and then find 3 buckets of chicken that you throw in the elevator too. You start the elevator via this generator, and then it turns into another defense mission. Same as last time, you can do it pretty easily if you have UV bars or Molotovs. There's also a puddle of oil on the ground, which is really good, especially for the Molotov strat. You go to check on the survivors on the roof to see if they got their food, and then it's revealed that they were actually renegades.
Thanks for the food, sucker. We're gonna eat all this.
So you kill them, end of mission. The next mission is called Toxic Work Environment, and this is the mission that made me realize how unbearable spitters are to deal with. The whole gimmick of this mission is that the ground is covered in toxic waste, and if you stay in it for too long, your immunity will go down and you'll die. This is basically an elimination mission where you kill a bunch of zombies. You go to the street, kill a bunch of zombies, go to 2 other locations, kill the zombies, and this whole time you're being chipped away by toxic and electric zombies and spitters. Spitters are torture to deal with. They have amazing accuracy, their range is insane, they deal way too much damage, they're high up so you have to go out of your way to get them. When you get close, they'll surround themselves in acid, damaging you. They just look stupid, not as unique as the toads. They're present in every mission too, by the way. Bring toxic resistance boosters and save yourself the migraine. But I digress. After killing the zombies, you then must go and kill Toxic Alice. Great name, Techland. Toxic Alice is just a toxic goon. Surprise, surprise. The final mission, for now at least, is called This May Sting, and this one is pretty tough. First of all, you cannot bring any of the equipment that you already have. It's a pre-selected amount of weapons and equipment that you can have laid out, and I think you have to distribute this between you and your friends if you're playing co-op, but luckily for me, and tragically I am a solo player, because none of my friends like Dying Light 2, you have to go to 4 different locations and pick up a barrel and lug it all the way back to this little safe area, and you've probably noticed, it's nighttime. So while you're lugging this giant barrel around, if the obstacles weren't bad enough, you have to also deal with volatiles walking around. And the annoying thing is, when they start a chase, the objective markers disappear, so you don't really know where you're going. After this grueling task, you then must, guess what? Activate this generator and defend it. Yeah! Volatiles shouldn't bother you during this section. Well, at least for me. I've played this mission about 3 times. And it's still pretty difficult, given that you only have a select amount of weapons provided. But you do it, and you get to see the little end screen with the goofy little animations that Aiden does. Completing these missions will give you tokens to spend at Jay's shop, and this is the only way to acquire these tokens. There are also elite versions of these missions. The objectives don't change, but the zombies are a lot stronger, as evident from you not even being able to assassinate them. There are also more enemy variants, such as elemental goons, but these missions are easily trivialized with camouflage, which everyone now has access to, because Bloody Ties is free, remember? Just make sure your friend doesn't fall asleep during the mission, like mine did.
Oh my god. We're stuck on a part where we're trying to break into a safe, but we couldn't figure it out. So now he's asleep.
There are also another type of missions introduced, the bulletin board missions. These are little side quests that you can accept and will see you gathering supplies from specific locations or searching for missing people. They're very similar to Tolga's missions from the first game. I hate Tolga. There's a lot to be done around the tower. Actually, they're more comparable to the board missions from Jazir's farm from the following. Speaking of the following, the celebrations for the 2nd anniversary don't end in-game. There are extra rewards that you can earn from the Pilgrim Outpost, that website that's connected to the game. One of the rewards you can receive is... Holy crap! Yeah, another reference to the first game, let's go! Your resident Dying Light fanboy's eating it up over here. I was kinda hoping they'd give us the mask too, as like a separate headpiece, so we can combine it with other gear, but it's fine. And I know what you're thinking, this is just a stupid skin, who really cares, you know? But there's a reward in here that we've been waiting for ever since the game launched. After its first appearance, way back in E3 2019, where we were first showed the superior version of Dying Light 2. 5 years later, we finally now have it. The Scorpio. The heavy weapon projectile hybrid is finally here, and it's just as good as I imagined. Pressing square, or whatever your action button is, will alternate between its 2 modes. You've probably noticed in the footage that I'm showing you, it's a little sluggish while switching modes, but it's fine. The weapon has infinite durability and deals extra damage to enemies that are affected with status effects, such as bleed, frost, burn, stuff like that. The only thing you have to worry about is crafting harpoons for the Scorpio. They are a little expensive, not gonna lie. With all these new ranged weapons introduced in this update, I finally now have a use for all this scout gear I have. I think it's finally time to address it. I'm a little late to the party. What took me so long to make this video? Well, aside from general procrastination and incompetent editing, there was another reason. A big reason. That I waited for. On February 29th, a new bulletin board mission was added at the PK ship, and oh my god. This is probably one of the craziest missions I've played in any video game ever. You need to see it to believe it. This woman is looking for a man who's gone missing, which is odd, because he's the type of person that's capable enough to the point where he wouldn't randomly vanish. Aiden agrees to look for the man. If only it were that simple. He goes near the church and finds a body. The woman says it isn't the missing man because he's always clean-shaven and would never have a beard like the dead body. Aiden then goes to another location where he's suspected to be, finding a small camp with a map. Aiden follows the location marked on the map and sees a weird light. Interacting with the light causes Aiden to, what seems like, teleport him to a metro station. Aiden explores this relatively clean-looking station. He eventually stumbles upon the missing guy who you're looking for, but what's odd is that he has a beard, and remember, the lady said he'd never have a beard. He starts rambling nonsense that makes it seem like he knows Aiden. Suddenly, this weird guy dressed in red appears, talking about the never-ending spread of the zombie virus.
Is there really no end to it?
Then, I kid you not, rifts open, and zombies hop out of these rifts and start attacking. Aiden survives these attacks and enters one of these rifts, causing him to be placed in a dark void. As he travels to the rift across him, two voices belonging to a pair of strangers can be heard.
How dare you? The data is conclusive. They are conduits between dimensions. Doorways, if you will.
This is all highly hypothetical. We couldn't possibly confirm any of this without somebody foolish enough to risk exploring them.
After reaching the portal, Aiden teleports and ends up in a workshop belonging to these two old dudes. After giving them a spook, these scientists introduce themselves as...
I am Tolga, and this is my brother Fatin.
Yup, Tolga and Fatin are now in Dying Light 2. They've been in Dying Light 2, in fact. There's been an Easter egg where, if you connect a wire to the top of this church, you can hear a radio with them in it. But now they're here, in the flesh. I didn't expect them to survive after the whole rocket train incident. And a funny fan theory of mine is that they actually ended up in the Bozak Horde.
And you wouldn't believe what's over here. There's a big arena!
But they're here, and one of them didn't kill the other, so I guess they didn't end up in the Bozak Horde. They see that Aiden had successfully traveled through these portals and start questioning him. As they do so, another one appears.
If it brought me here, maybe...
Hey, don't touch it!
What the hell?
They call Aiden and tell him the location of their workshop. On his way there, that lady from earlier calls Aiden and tells him that the missing guy had returned. He comes over to the mic and thanks Aiden for saving him, which confuses Aiden because he literally saw him die. Aiden meets back up with the twins and asks what we're all thinking.
What's going on, fellas?
Tolga explains that, basically, other dimensions are leaking into this one through those rifts we saw, and the universe will implode on itself. Or something. Yeah, I know. Just stick with me on this, trust me. The twins are as idiosyncratic as ever, with the expected funny banter and insulting Aiden's intelligence. I noticed that, unlike the first game, where they were just really condescending, they're just straight up douchebags to Aiden in this game. I guess with the threatening collapse of the entire universe, they might be a little more irritated. They require more research on these rifts and hand Aiden a pair of goggles that allow him to see the location of the rifts. And have fun seeing in black and white for the entire mission. Aiden then must interact with these 6 rifts in order to gather data for Tolga and Fatin. You can visit these in any order, but I'll just show you the order that I went in. The first rift teleports Aiden to the sewer that he traveled in the prologue, although in this dimension it's a warped, upside-down version of it. Finding the portal out will transport Aiden back to the hardware store where he first entered.
Aiden! Fatin, he's back! Cancel plan B!
The next rift will put Aiden in the void, with a GRE anomaly in it. He can be ignored, just find the portal and get out of there.
Back again, Aiden? If it is you?
Of course it's me.
Say something only our Aiden would know.
I know you guys are kind of dicks.
It's him.
The next rift will send Aiden to this weird office with creepy, distorted music playing. Just a mini walking sim, walk over to the portal, and move on to the next. The next rift will send Aiden back to that metro station, except now, he's mad. This only proves how fun an activatable zombie mode would be. Slaughter enough of that missing guy, and then leave. Next!
When you travel through the rifts, what do you see?
Nothing specific. It's more what I feel. A wrenching sensation. And like, for an instant, somebody near me.
It's a neurological thing. Your body and your brain are constantly talking. If those signals get scrambled, your brain can misinterpret your body's location slightly. So the sensation of another person there is, in fact, you sensing yourself.
That's a real thing?
Yes. Or it could be a symptom of significant brain damage. But in your case, how could we really tell?
Yeah, okay, I think we're done here.
In this rift, Aiden turns into a little guy inside of Tolga and Fatin's workshop. Make like the rat you are and climb to the portal. The final rift sees Aiden in a little parkour course, similar to that GRE location where Veronica's mission takes place. Okay, good. Tolga and Fatin now have the data that they need. Returning back to them, they have an idea on how to stop these rifts from leaking into our dimension. But they left the schematics for the item they need to craft in a cave. Well, a version of them made blueprints for the item that was left in a cave. So Aiden must go to the correct dimension to locate these blueprints. Yeah, dimension talk, I know. I got fed up with it in COD Zombies, now it's in Dying Light. you travel to the little underground area where Aiden travels to the little underground area that takes place during the PK mission, if you chose that side, that is. This little rift spurts out 3 little balls, and you have to play a game of uplink with it, picking up the balls with the gloves that Tolga Fatin gave you and throwing it into the rift. This then transports Aiden to the cave that they mentioned earlier. This cave, funnily enough, is the same cave where they made Vulcan Doll's ship that totally worked. There are a few rifts that lead Aiden to a few other dimensions, none of them containing the schematics that the twins need. Until Aiden ends up in this dimension, Aiden begins to hear echoes of himself from another dimension, in which Aiden becomes a renegade and sides with Waltz. Renegading. And he calls Waltz Dad, which just doesn't sit right with me.
Dad, I'll be there shortly. Mia's coming too. The PKs are finished. The city is yours. The only thing that matters is stopping that virus from spreading.
Here, Aiden finds the blueprints and leaps out of there. Back in the original dimension, Aiden gives the schematics to the twins and they gawk at how intelligent even their other versions are. Aiden then must go back into those 6 dimensions that he gathered data for, and find the materials needed to craft this item. Yeah, there's a lot of running back and forth. Nothing important to note here, the areas are slightly expanded. Let's start her up again, going over them in the same order as before. Back in the prologue rift, Aiden needs to swim down and navigate a maze to find the correct portal. Don't enter the wrong one, because you'll be stranded in a vacuum. With the boots, the closer Aiden gets to the object he's looking for, the more they'll beep. Follow the beeping and find the anti-gravitational modulators.
I have the anti-gravitational modulators.
Without it, using the machine would be like asking you to recite the alphabet, Aiden. Theoretically possible, but utterly pointless.
Back in The Void, Aiden will be confronted by the elemental goons. I don't think you have to kill them, just find the portal and get to the next section. There will be 2 demolishers, and this is where the beeping boots really come in handy, because the quantum core is somewhere here in the darkness. Track it down and get out.
I got your quantum core. What's it do anyway?
It will allow our machine to control subatomic particles with astounding...
It's a magic box, Aiden. It does magic things to atoms.
The third rift will put Aiden back in that creepy office. Just a walking simulator, only thing to worry about is going through the wrong rift. Get the temporal glass, and bye-bye.
I got that temporal glass you wanted.
And what? What do you want? A gold star sticker? A letter of recommendation?
Oh, Tolga, don't be like that. Aiden, I apologize. He skipped a meal, so now he's very grumpy. It's not your tedious ignorance that makes him snap like that.
The next rift puts Aiden back into Zombie Metro Mayhem. Kill this stupid guy a lot of times and get the ethereal processor. Next, becoming 5'11 again, Aiden finds the reality stabilizing plate inside the twins' workshop.
How many of these realities are there, anyway?
That's a complex question. The simple answer is vastly more than you could count.
So more than 10. Or 20, if he takes off his shoes. Ha!
Final one, and it's that parkour course again, though a tad bit more difficult. Make sure you don't fall. The crystal is located on the giant satellite dish, which took me about 5 minutes to figure out. Use a rope to get up there, and now bring Tolga and... bring them their stuff. While Aiden was collecting their stuff, they whipped up this little doohickey while he was gone. Now, they craft that thing, which Aiden was getting the parts for. But suddenly, a portal opens. And you need to see this to believe this. Another version of Aiden steps out from the portal with a gun. He starts messing with the machine, which Fatin obviously doesn't want, and then...
Look, we don't have the time to babysit 2 incompetents. Stand aside.
Fatin, no!
I'm sorry. I can't allow you to do this. Too much is at stake.
Fatin, come on. He's gone. It's over. You can get up now.
Tolga, come on.
You think I don't know?
Fatin is dead. My mouth was agape when I saw this. Tears in my eyes. Heart broken. Tolga comes to the conclusion that Renegadin is the one behind all these rifts opening, and he's the one making the dimension collapse. Luckily, he can track the machine that Renegadin stole, which by extension tracks him too. In order to travel to where Renegadin is, Aiden must open a rift by stabilizing 3 other rifts. To do this, Aiden touches a rift close to the ground and then must parkour up a tall building to reconnect them. Do this 3 times and the rift to Renegadin will open.
Here goes.
Aiden confronts Renegadin, and Renegadin explains why he's doing all this. Through all of the endless universes, there has to be at least one where there is no zombie virus. A perfectly healthy universe. But we ourselves have witnessed zombies traveling through these rifts. Who's to say that a zombie from this universe won't jump through a rift and end up in the healthy universe? Another patient zero. another infected world will collapse. Renegaden wants to destroy this universe to ensure that won't happen. Aiden argues that Tolga and Fatin's machine will ensure that these rifts stop appearing, so there won't be a threat of zombies traveling through dimensions. But Renegaden doesn't trust it. He wants to be absolutely certain that zombies don't reach whatever healthy worlds are out there. That's why he wants to destroy the universe. He offers Aiden a choice. Help him destroy this very universe to ensure the safety of others, or trust Tolga and Fatin's machine, trust that it will stop rifts from appearing altogether. I'm not sure if you've been watching, but this guy shot and killed Fatin. This starts a boss fight where a bunch of Renegadens begin to attack Aiden, and they are no joke. Hopefully you got some health boosters, or a shotgun. After a while, Aiden starts tweaking and ripping them apart. It's weird that Renegaden doesn't do that though. Eventually they stop spawning because I think Aiden has killed every other version of himself in existence, which is a scary thought. Aiden comes back and finds that the workshop is empty, no sign of Tolga and Fatin ever being there. Well, aside from the cup that Tolga threw at Aiden. A note is left on the table addressed to Aiden. The letter is a goodbye to Aiden, thanking him for saving the universe, with their trademark idiosyncratic insults thrown in. It's bittersweet. I'm not really sure what this ending means. I think Aiden goes to a universe where Tolga and Fatin never met him, and they traveled to this said dimension to deliver this note to him. But what's odd is that Fatin contributed in this note, despite us seeing him die. My only hope is that Tolga went to another universe, where he died instead, and reunited with the still living Fatin. I don't know. That's enough dimension hopping talk for a lifetime. For multiple lifetimes. And in case you're wondering what happens if you do choose to help Renegaden destroy the universe, I didn't know what happened because I chose the kill Renegaden option first, but luckily Best Gamer Ali came in clutch and uploaded a video. Aiden simply puts his hand inside this rift and the universe just snap, gone. And then you get the credits. This is a new ending to Dying Light 2. Enjoy the music. A few miscellaneous things I'll just throw in right here. There's a free bundle in the store, the Retrowave bundle, which is very similar to the one in the first game. Cutscenes have been updated as usual with each update. Not gonna replay the whole game to show you, so trust me bro. A new type of renegade has been added, the Grenadier. Or is it Grenader? I don't know. They are heavy renegades that wear red masks and will occasionally chuck grenades at you. There's a cool new outfit along with gear in the Pilgrim Outpost. The gear pieces are poorly made, they have a lot of clipping issues, but the outfit as a whole is really cool, probably the best in the game. 50 new legend levels have been added, along with some new categories and old ones being replaced. You can now invest points into reduced damage from all sources, increased crit chance, lower stamina drain from weapons, increased stagger damage against enemies, heal when doing damage, and damage done from skills. Thankfully, they removed the god-awful less fall recovery skill and replaced it with a category to increase gun damage. There is also a new skin for reaching level 300. Hey, I've seen this before. As usual, I spent the rest of those military parts that I was giving a year ago and reached level 300 easy. Let it be known that this update isn't a complete hit. There are many bugs and issues with it. The long-awaited tower raid has been delayed. I'm honestly not surprised. They delayed the main game, DLC 1, and DLC 2. They claim it so that they can polish it up and meet expectations, but given their track record of delaying things and them still being terrible, I'm not too optimistic. Prove me wrong, Techland. They completely botched the gritty filter. They had it perfect and now it looks really green. I'm assuming this is probably just a bug because of the enhanced visuals we got in this update. It reminds me of Left 4 Dead for some reason. The FOV is screwed up. No matter what you set your FOV to, Aiden's hands are really close to his face. It's very obvious when paragliding. Unlike in the first game, where if you shoot a gun, there's a chance that it will attract virals. But in this game, if you shoot a gun, you're guaranteed gonna attract some virals. You may end up in an endless cycle of shooting virals which just summons more. I'm noticing a lot of screen tearing because of the new visuals, so I guess it's no more balance mode, going back on performance mode. There are some crashing issues. I completed one of Jay's missions and immediately went to his shop and my game just crashed. But thankfully I haven't encountered any game-breaking bugs. Alright, in all seriousness, it's time for the burning question. Big blow, job? What took you so long to make this video? Well, aside from having a mouthful of peanut butter and being unable to record audio correctly, just straight up laziness. Procrastination. Not to mention all the new games that are coming out that I'm playing. You know, Helldivers 2, Outlast, Sons of the Forest, the new Fortnite chapter, I guess. I take my time. I'm more of a quality over quantity type of person. Despite how poorly made this video may be, and how irrelevant the discussion of this update is. I'm working on a big project right now. No, not that, but another one. That one's on the back burner for now. If you know, you know. But if you don't feel like waiting another month for me to upload, might I suggest checking out my friend Amagad's channel. He posts clips of us playing Lethal Company and a couple of Dying Light memes. His videos are certainly... well, go and watch them, you'll see. I'll link them. They're certainly better than my first videos. Don't research that. And as always, good night, and good human.